Hey guys, it's me Marty and welcome to this week's edition of Tutorial Tuesday. So today I have an interesting one. I don't know if y'all remember, but a while back I did Baking 101. I'll put a card for that up here, which was about baking your face. Obviously, I'm sure not gonna bake a pie. It was about why we bake, how we bake, what's the best way to do it, what it does for the skin, all of that stuff. After that one, I've been kind of talking to people. I keep getting asked the same thing over and over again. Concealers. Concealer seems to be a very hot topic. It always has been because people are confused about how many concealers there are. Why are there so many types? What's the different kinds? What are they used for? So I wanted to do a concealer 101. So in this tutorial, I'm going to talk about first the most important one, which people seem to have the most questions about: color correct concealer. Those are those greens, yellows, reds that people buy and they're like, what am I supposed to do with it now that I have it? So we're going to talk about color correct concealer. We're going to talk about the new phenomenon of highlighting concealers that are used for highlights. And then we talked about what I call magic eraser concealers, which are the ones that match your skin tone, and a new and different kind of concealer called pencil concealer. So not only am I going to explain to you what they're made for and how you're supposed to use them, I'm also going to give you a bunch of different uses for each kind, because y'all know how I am. Y'all know I'm cheap and I need to get every penny worth of everything I buy. If you had any questions about concealers, or you just kind of want to see what I'm doing and how I used concealer to make this look, because I did use a lot of concealer. I actually made this look with you guys. As I was going through my regular beauty process, I went ahead and stopped and showed you each time I used concealer and what I used it for, and kind of explained it a little bit. So if you want to see how to use concealer, if you want a crash course in concealers, you can just keep on watching. Thanks. Okay guys, so when I was telling people in my life that I was going to do this as my next 101, it was going to be concealer 101. This was the thing that everybody was asking about. Are you going to talk about color correct concealer? Because people are so confused about how to use it, what it means, all of that. So this is most of, this is not all of, this is most of my concealers here. These are my color corrects and what I call magic eraser concealers, which we'll talk about later. Color correct concealer is a whole different ball game. So I apply my color correct concealer after I do my eyeshadow, because I like to erase some of the stuff under here, and before I do my foundation. Now, I do get people that ask me all the time, well, when you're rubbing your foundation on, doesn't it take the color correct concealer off? No, and I'll show you why. So let's talk about what it is first, because there's a lot of questions about that. So I have in here a bunch of different types. The ones I use all the time: orange. What this is used for is to get under eye circles gone. Everything with color correct concealer is the color wheel. Now, if you're not familiar with the color wheel, I graduated with an art degree, so I was like, we had to know the color wheel back and front. So each one is going to counteract a different color. That's why. So like orange is across from what? Blue. So mostly under the bags under your eye, like the circles under your eye, they always have a blue undertone to it. So when you use this orange, it's going to correct that. So as I'm doing it, I'll just kind of explain it to y'all. I always apply color correct concealer with a brush, usually a slanted brush, a concealer brush, whatever, but a pretty good size one, because your color correct concealers are going to go a lot of places. So you want to make sure you're using something that's going to give you a lot of coverage. This is the NYX full coverage concealer in orange. This is the one I always use. I did have one that was like, it was like a tube and you pulled it out and it had a little brush at the end. That one was good too. But this one I've had for a long time. You can see how much I've used it. It's been getting used a lot. So I'm just going to dip my brush in here, right? So we got some, and I'm going to, this Glow Kit has the biggest mirror, so I've been using it all night. And I'm going to just take it and I'm going to just start kind of painting under my eye. Anywhere else that you see you have a blue tone, you can use it there too. But the biggest culprit for blue is definitely under the eyes. I have seen on YouTube and, you know, quote unquote hacks, people using red lipstick to do this. I have tried. I prefer the orange. I find it's easier to blend into my skin tone. So I don't know about the red. I personally can't do it, but I have seen a lot of people that do. So you see what I did? I just did a little bit of a triangle kind of, and I just went right under the eye with it. I know some people, like, they don't have, like mine, the worst part of my under eye is always right here by my nose. That's where I have the most. So that's why it's the lowest here, and then I just drag it up. I usually use it to kind of help me carve out my eyeliner because I usually do a wing, as y'all know. Next, for me, the most important thing is always going to be green. Why? Because I am so red all the time. Like, my nose is always red. I recently had a really bad breakout, which is the reason I decided to do this today. I had a breakout, so I don't know where these things came from. I have like 5 pimples all in a row right here, and they are very painful and they hurt like hell. I always use green. The difference between a stick and a pot, it's literally just like anything else. It's just a mode of application. You can do it either way. I personally prefer the sticks. Well, I don't know. I do prefer the sticks because it gives you a precise way to do it, but also they were on sale. And y'all know with me, that trumps everything if something is on sale. I always use the Japanese one. This is my favorite one in green. And as you can see again, I use the crap out of this. I use color correct concealer every time I do my makeup. I'm trying to get away from that because it's like an extra layer that you don't need in like everyday life. Like more for events is when you would need it. But you know, I love a color correct. So I'm going to go with, I'm just dabbing it. Anywhere you see red, you just draw over it. Simple. Now, I know we look crazy right now, but I'm going to show y'all how to blend it out and how to cover it and everything too. Corner of my nose is always red. The tip of my nose is always red. My sister will come to my house and be like, oh, Rudolph, your nose is red again. Why? And that too, like any bruise, look how crazy I look right now. Any bruise, any mark you have, if you put that green on there first, it's going to eliminate that red, which is going to already help kind of fade it to the back. All we're trying to do is cover what we have with different colors. That's all. So this one is kind of a new one for me. This is the purple one, which counteracts yellow, and they say it helps get rid of the look of tired skin. For me, that's like all these little, you can't really see them on here, but like where my skin is, I have like these little marks on my face. I don't know what they came from. I don't know where they came from. I don't know if it's age, but yeah, I have all these little tiny marks on the side. So I'm going to use that to cover this. I mostly use this on things that are really protruding, but they're not red or they're not green. Like stuff you really, red or green. They're not red and it's not like an under eye circle. That's what I'll use this purple for. It just makes your skin look fresher. So I'm going to use them on the outside. And if you notice, I don't clean off my brush after I use it because I don't mind like mixing the colors because we're going to blend them out anyway. And I think that kind of helps. It's like a blend. So again, I'm just like my chin where I have a bunch of scars. I'm going to just put those. Now again, you don't have to put this much, obviously. This is not what you're doing every day. You don't need to do this every day. But if you do have a pimple or you have a spot that aggravates you, this is kind of why I'm going over this with you. So again, that's anywhere your skin is tired, you feel like it looks kind of dull, that's where you want to put your purple. Also, I normally use yellow as well, but since I used the purple today, and I already have a lot, I don't think I really need it. But yellow is supposed to all over neutralize. So if you don't want to do all of this, you want to just clear it all out in one hit, yellow is the way you want to go. So the thing with yellow though, because it's a multitasker, I always say if you do 10 things, you do 10 things well and none great. So it helps. It does definitely help, but it's not going to help as much as individual spot correcting. But if you're in a rush, like if you're getting ready every morning, this might be something you want to use instead. And again, I use mine underneath my foundation because that foundation is going to get rid of the color and you'll just have the coverage. So now we get to the part everybody always wants to know about, blending it out. How can you blend it out where you're not walking down the street looking like a puzzle? I totally understand that. So what I do is I use a beauty sponge. I wet said beauty sponge, pretty good. And not wet, I need to start saying dampen, like it's not dripping or anything. So I'm going to take my beauty sponge and I'm just going to start blending it out. Now you don't want to be smearing it like this. You just want to bounce on it like this, by the nickel. You just want to bounce. And if you look as I'm bouncing, it's kind of fading. And that's just because I'm pushing it in and getting rid of the lines. You don't want it to be gone. Why? Because it's going to eliminate the purpose. Like, why would you just be smearing it and taking it off when you just put it on? That makes no sense. That's what I'm here for, girl. I'm here to help. Again, trying to get rid of the lines. And depending on what brand you use, Like some are so much creamier than the others, like the NYX, the little pot I used earlier, the orange and the purple. When you first get them, they are so like dry, like it takes forever to blend it. So all I did was when I first got it, I just took some little, I took that oil I use for everything and I just kind of dropped like 2 little drops in it. And you want to just keep doing this until you're comfortable with your fade. And that's going to be different for everyone. So since I feel I'm comfortable with my blending of that right now, what I want to do though is at the very rim of my eye, you can see a very clear line of where the foundation stops. So I'm just going in with a flat brush and I'm just thinning it out right at the top, right? So this is what we're looking like so far. I'm gonna go grab my foundation so I can show y'all how we do that. I'll be right back. To make sure I'm showing y'all how to do this properly and that it's not like, I'm gonna use the foundation I always use, which is a pretty light one, the NARS Illuminating All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation. It gives good coverage, but it's pretty light. So just so you can see, because I didn't want to slather on like one that's like cake, where you're gonna be like, oh, okay. I don't want it to be like cake icing. Of course it's gonna cover, but it's kind of defeating the purpose. So I will take a beauty blender, and if you're gonna color correct, the best way to go about it is a beauty sponge, because if you use a brush to apply your foundation, unless you're stippling it on, which you can do, it tends to drag and again pull it away. So you want something that you can just kind of bounce on it, right? And again, there are ways to do that with a brush, but for me, it's way, way easier for me to use a beauty sponge. So I'm just gonna put some of this NARS on there. So just, where's my camera? Okay, just 2 good pumps. And this stuff is really good. So, I mean, a little goes a long way with that. So I'm gonna put my pumps on my sponge. Might need a mirror for it to see. And I'm going to start just bouncing that foundation over my concealer. So see that? Chin looks good, right? So you can see as I'm doing it how color is going away and it's just leaving a really smooth look, except the under eye, which is important. We want to leave it like that. Don't be like, well, I got the green off, but my under eye is still bright orange. Yeah, you're going to see the under eye for a little while. I'll explain that to y'all again. And it's not like I'm just making this up because it's still there. If you watch any of my other tutorials where you see me do under eye, I always discuss how you will still see orange. That's another reason that we do a brighter concealer underneath the eyes to eliminate that orange. Color concealer and foundation is a go. Looks good. So I think I'm going to actually do the next part with y'all now too. I don't see a reason to break and do something else. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab another tray of concealer. That's how many I have, and we'll do the next part together. I'll be right back. Okay guys, so our next part of this concealer 101 is cream concealers and like highlighter concealers. So this is my second little bucket that has concealer in it. This is my highlighting bucket, which it has all my blinding highlights and powder highlights and stuff like that. But what I'm going to focus on with y'all today is these. So these are brightening concealers, and here's what they're used for. I don't know when this happened, but somewhere over the last, I'd say maybe 10 years, we started using concealers for more than just to conceal a pimple. So what happened is, and I don't know how long this has been going on. I know it spread like wildfire within the last, like I said, maybe 5 to 10 years. So people started using concealer for highlighting, which is good. It's a lot easier. I think it's because of the opaqueness of it, because it's used to cover scars and stuff like that, because it's used to cover quote unquote imperfections, which I don't really agree with. Yeah, so because of that, because of the opaqueness of them, and because the bottle shape and the fact that they mostly have wands like this, they have been used as highlighters more than concealers. So what these are, it's a concealer that's usually maybe 2 shades lighter than you. You could go, if you really want to get crazy, I would say you could go all the way up to like 3 or 4 shades lighter than you, but you got to blend the hell out of that stuff because you will look crazy if you do not. These are all considered concealers, but you don't use them to really conceal. You're using them to highlight. I've also seen people, like I used a lighter shade. I used the Benefit Boing Concealer. It's a slightly lighter shade than my skin tone, and I use that to outline my brows. I use that thing every time I do my brows. I use it for that reason. So there's also a Benefit Brightening Concealer. I don't know where it is, but it goes in the same vein as these. They usually will reflect light a certain way. They usually will cover everything, and they're just the bomb. Like, I love these. I have 4 different ones here. I've also seen people use them to carve out their lid. Like instead of a eyeshadow base, they'll use a concealer as that, which I happen to have eyeshadow bases, so I don't do that, but I don't see a problem with that. That definitely will work for you. But again, it has to be a shade or 2 lighter. I have the Too Faced Born This Way Naturally Radiant Concealer. I have the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Full Wear More Than a Concealer, which this crap, y'all, this is like the drugstore GOAT. Like, everybody loves this. They compare it to this, which is my favorite, the Tarte Shape Tape Double Duty Beauty Concealer. It says contour concealer. So again, it's the same thing. It's going to be highlighting contour. Couple pointers with this. You want it to be, like I said, 2 to 4 shades lighter than you. And you want it to have a wand. Wands are just so much easier to use. Now, they will have cream contour kits that you could buy too. It's pretty much the same thing, except I believe the main difference is the shape. And usually concealers will have more opacity to it. So I'm going to use the Tarte Shape Tape one. This can also be done with a foundation, but for the most part, I see concealers marketed and used way, way more than anything else. So again, I'm going to use the Tarte Shape Tape because it is just my favorite of all time. Now, it is a little cakey. It is thick. It's really good for if you're going to be taking pictures. But, like, see the applicators, everything. And it smells good. What kind of concealer smells good? So I'm going to use that to go under my eye. And all I want to do with this is bring brightness to the places I want brighter. So you see how it's a different color, right? Which I know we've all seen it. The big triangle they put like this on their eye. I don't see the reason in that. I find it really hard to blend out. And then it can make your complexion way, way too light. And it'll make you have a line of demarcation. And it'll just be a whole situation. Tree of Life. Bridge of the Nose. I'll explain why in a minute. And then the chin. So these are just the areas of your face that you want to get the most light. These are the areas that would be in the light the most anyway. So that's what we're doing with that. Another thing you could do with a concealer like this, but you don't want to use a wand, you want to use a brush, is to outline the lip. And I'll show y'all how to do that later because that's a good point that definitely needs to be discussed further. Where's my sponge? Okay, so again, just like with our Color Correct concealer, I'm going to spray this Beauty Blender. I changed the one I use. I'm now using a green one because I have different sponges for different things. Like when I use this, I don't like to use the same one because you can wind up restamping Color Correct concealer on your face. You don't want to do that. And if you see where I put the first one, this is how we finish cover up the orange. So now you see how bright my under eye area looks, right? With all that stuff we did to it. And you can do the same thing with a darker one for your contour. I don't have a concealer that I'm using for that, so I'm not going to do that on here because it's not a concealer. But, you know, just a thought. Like if you're in the store, and something about this too, if you're just doing it just for this, you really can buy like a cheap one. You don't have to spend a ton of money on it. And if you notice, again, just like last time, I'm not dragging it. I'm bouncing. Y'all see how my complexion has gotten so much better as I'm sitting here because of the concealer? All right, y'all. So I am back. Y'all see I am now contoured, cream contoured and everything. And again, you can see from the time we started this to now how different my face looks using the different concealers. So I am now back with what I call Magic Eraser concealer. So these are the ones that will match your skin tone. The ones you want to get that are your exact shade that are going to cover up anything else that's still protruding. Now, today, because I took my time and did all of them with you, I'm mostly good, but I am going to use this Boing industrial strength concealer on my scar because I do still see a little bit of my scar peeking through. So I always apply this one with my finger because it heats it up, it warms it up a little bit, and it lets it really blend well. Oh, this feels extra creamy. I guess I haven't used it in a while. So I'm just going to pat that on with my finger, and that's why I call it a magic eraser. You can kind of just see it going away. Now, in this case, for this particular type of concealer, you do want to, you're going to get what you pay for with that one. Like, you have to just know if you're spending less than, I say, $5-10. No, $10. If you're spending less than $10, you're going to get not as good coverage. Like, you won't just be able to just pop it on and be done with it. You might have to layer more. You might have to set it. You might have to do all that. So, and I'm going to set all of this off camera. I don't really need to do it on camera. When I bake and everything, I'm going to set after. So just a heads up on that. And then next we have, I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills concealer in 6. And all I'm going to do with this is our cleanup product. So you're going to just use that to clean up. Like, I'm just going to use it today to line, to do my eyeliner. And then I'm going to use a different one later to trim my lips. But you can do that with this too. So I have this really nice flat concealer brush from NYX. I know you guys don't want to hear it again, but I did get it on sale at Macy's and it's awesome. I love this brush. So I'm going to get it because it's a really pretty flat brush. These concealers are so creamy. I guess I haven't done my I haven't done my makeup in a while. And I'm just going to use that to kind of just sharpen up that line. So that's all I did. That's all I want to do with it. And I like this brush because it's like a shovel. So you literally can get right where you need to get. And then I'm just going to pull it down. So like usually I'd have my under eye done and everything. See the sharpness of that line now that we cleaned it up a little bit? So that's that for concealer. I will come back to y'all at the very, very end to wrap up and to show y'all how to outline your lips with concealer as well. So I want to show you guys, on top of the different types of concealer, what to do with it, all of the different possibilities for concealer. Because it's not, like I keep saying, it's not just to cover up whatever. It's also to outline, to clean up, to highlight, to contour. You can do all kind of crap with concealer. So, all right, so I'm going to go and finish off the rest of my look, and I'll be back to wrap it up with y'all in a little bit. Okay, guys, so my makeup is just about completely done. I have one more type of concealer I want to talk about, and this is like the newest, it's the newest type of concealer I found. It is the NYX Makeup Wonder Pencil, and what this is a pencil concealer. Now, what would you need this for? So, what I use it for is to trace things out. So I showed you guys earlier what I did with my eyeliner. You could use it for that. I'm going to use it today to outline my lips. That's what I use it for most of the time. And not so much with a nude lipstick like this. Let me zoom on it a little bit. Hey, so not so much with a nude lipstick like this because it's nude, but like a bright red lipstick or like a bright red, a fuchsia, something that's you really want to pop. That's what it's for. This is a good pop. Also, another thing you could use it for, and I guess I can do that, is to line the inner rim of your lid, your eye. Did I say the eye? To line the inner rim of your eye with. So where it's pink, or sometimes it'll be red if you're tired or whatever, you can go back and line with that concealer. And it'll just make your eye look more open. So see that? See the difference? See how this one has that extra? Let me get real good in here with this. I didn't even think about this till I said here, actually. So instead of lining your eye with black, which will close off your eye and make it just look, it's not going to look this open. You line it with this, it opens up your eye a little more. So you see the difference between the two, right? Okay, so what I really like to use it for, I'm not going to line the other one right now, but I like to use it for is to outline my lips. So especially if you're going to overline your lips, you come back with that, it makes it just cleaner. So right now, I have my lip liner done and everything, so it looks decent. But so what we want to do is just take a thin line around the lip. And you can see already how much of a difference it already made, right? It makes my bottom look. My bottom lip look a little plumper. It makes it look fuller. And most of all, it makes that line cleaner. So like if you're watching TV and you're seeing how sharp, like especially if they have like really pronounced points, how sharp their lipstick looks or their eyeliner, lashes, whatever the case may be, it's usually not that they applied it really well. What happens is they go back and clean it up so it looks much better. So that's another use, a pencil concealer. So you can do that with a regular concealer and a brush too, but this is so much easier. This is like the best $5 I've ever spent. I can't even remember when I bought it. It's so long ago, but it's just nice. Now you will have that little halo rim. You just blend that out with a brush or a sponge. I'm just too lazy to get up and walk across the glam room to get my beauty sponge, but then you get to go. So I'm going to blend that out and line my inner rim and finish my look completely, and then I'll come back and we will wrap up this little lesson, y'all. All right, guys, so thank y'all so much for joining me for this week's Tutorial Tuesday. I hope I was able to answer all of your concealer questions. I know it's a lot. It seems like I did a lot, but if you get into the routine of doing it, and now that we're all on lockdown and quarantine right now would be the time to practice. I hope I was able to get to answer any questions you had about color correct concealer, about highlighting concealer, about regular concealer, pencil concealer. I hope I covered everything for you, because concealer is something that I know when I'm walking in the store with people, a lot of people will ask, like, do you know what I'm supposed to use this orange one for? Do you know what I'm supposed to use green one for? Why is there so many of this kind? If you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to leave them down in the comment section below. You can also hit me up on my Instagram or my Twitter or any other social media, which is always the last slide. If you do like the stuff I'm putting out, please go ahead and subscribe so you see when I post things, and it'll automatically just let you know so you can come and get your next class in Diamonds and Denim 101 classes. So again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next week here on Tutorial Tuesday, same glam time, same glam channel. Bye.